I love arcades.
Yeah.
That was like my whole, because I never had one as a kid. So every time I went to the mall.
Well, and that is what bred my next project. So this was 98, and I sold that company to a company that was spun off from 3DFX, which at the time was the big 3D chip. And we had this idea to take all the old classic games and put them in one cabinet. And so we we sent a guy over to Japan to Capcom, and he got the license for all the old classics. So Street Fighter, Street Fighter 2, Bomberman, all these games. And then he went to Taito, and then he went to Jalco, and all these Japanese guys these things were just sitting in a shelf collecting dust. They had written them off years ago. And so we said, give us a license for these games. And we built the machine, put them all in one machine. And so we built this machine called the Ultracade. And the Ultracade started out with 8 games, and then it had 16, and then it had 32. And by the time we were done 8 years later, that machine shipped with 85 titles, and you could put 256 classic games in it. And it had every classic arcade game in it.
Yeah, one of my last offices had one of those.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was a really popular machine. We had it in Sky Mall for several years, and it was in Costco. You could buy them at Costco. And I was out there a month ago and went by the break room at Costco and saw one of them. And it's just like, hey, there it is.
Do you play a lot of games?
I used to play a lot of games. Lately, I haven't had that much time, but...
well, you're away from it now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right. When you're in the business, you got to play fucking games. You got to play a ton of games and see what the competitor has and what's new. And
yeah.
I've never been a game guy. I was talking to my wife about games the other day. Like, the longest lasting game I could play was Battleship. Battleship was the fucking shit. Monopoly, once I bought the blue property.
I've never finished a game of Monopoly.
Me neither. Never finished
really?
a game of Monopoly.
A full game? It always ends, people get pissed off, people walk away.
Yeah. And I never really dug computer games. I don't know what it was. I would go to get weed at drug dealer houses, and I would see how they'd act with those fucking games.
Oh, they would just play
like, are you fucking guys kidding me? And then the coke dealer I had, I'd go there all hours of the night, and there'd be 20 people yelling and screaming, and I didn't understand. I'd sit there and watch, and I'd go, wow, this is... And Madden, I'd never played a fucking game, guys. I don't know what you motherfuckers are talking about. PCs and arcades. And
well, it was interesting because when I was in junior high school, I remember playing an arcade machine called Phoenix, and I played it for hours and hours. And the town I in was a real small town, and so they only had 4 machines there. They had a Dragon's Lair, which was like state of the art at the time. It was a Laserdisc cartoon game, and you just had to make a decision. And then here it is 20 years later. I own the rights to Phoenix to put on the Ultracade, and we did the 25th anniversary edition of Dragon's Lair. So we got the license for it, and we re-released it, and we did Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace all in one cabinet. And the best part about doing the re-release is we added a feature where you put a second quarter in, and we'd give you hints. We'd tell you, press up now.
Oh, wow. So what it's kind of like is a lot of people, younger people, are big into vinyl now. They love going and seeing the
retro stuff.
It's kind of the same thing. And especially when people my age and when older people go, they want to play the games that they had as a kid. They don't want to play the new crazy games at the arcade.
No, I played Miss Pac-Man. I like.
Yeah.
And I like the one with the missiles that came out, and you have to shoot the shit.
Missile Command.
Those are the ones that are in all the laundromats.
Right. Yeah.
When you go to a laundromat or a bus station. So as a comic, I'd be on the road, and I'd have a 3-hour wait, and I'd get like $1 in quarters and play Miss Pac-Man. But so the arcades are the ones that you sit down to.
That's right.
And 2 people could play them.
That's right.
I know 1,000 people who have those things.
Yeah.
My friend had one in his house, in his bedroom, like in his office. He had one. I played Miss Pac-Man the whole fucking time, but he bought it offline, so it would like shut off by itself after like 45 minutes. And you had to let it cool off for 25 fucking minutes or some shit.
That's right. Well, those old machines, the circuits inside were these boards that were this big, and now we've replaced it with a little board that's this big and runs all the games on that one board.
It's amazing. Do you think it's ever going to happen? And I know, is it PlayStation's trying it, where you can stream video games?
Yeah, so there's a really neat thing that NVIDIA's doing where you play the game, but the game's being played on a server in the cloud, and all it's doing is delivering the video from the game to your screen.
So there's no memory being taken.
You don't need an Xbox. You don't need a expensive player. You just need something that can handle the streaming, and that's coming. That stuff's coming real quick.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I've played with some prototypes of it because we did a 4K streaming box with NVIDIA last year, and so we've seen some of that stuff that they're working on, and it'll be in the market coming up in the first quarter this year. You'll see it at CES this year, and it's amazing. I mean, you can play what would be a super high-end computer on your TV. The graphics are that good without having a console.
That's crazy. When I went to your office today, you had a 4K film scanner.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how a few years ago, everyone was 3D crazy. Everyone wanted a 3D TV, and it kind of fizzled out essentially. Yeah. And you were saying how you had to buy on 4K before this happened. Well, it's kind of crazy to because a lot of people made mistakes on HD DVDs instead of Blu-ray
that's right,
or
and
something.
A lot of people lost a lot of money developing 3D stuff too, and it was a gamble. But 2 years ago we saw at the Consumer Electronics Show, we saw the 4K TVs done. They weren't prototypes; they were done. They were working, and we said, "This is where the market's going to go." And so we invested in. We bought 2 of those film scanners. We were the first company to get 2 of those film scanners in, and we've been just scanning like madmen. We've got one down here. We've got one up in San Francisco, and we just have them going 24/7, just scanning film. And one of the things that we do is that we're not when you were scanning in HD, you were just doing it. You could scan pretty fast. Scanners didn't take that long to scan because all they were doing was taking an image of each frame and then stapling it together into a movie.
And so people know, there's thousands of frames in a movie because it's like
24
frames a second.
Yeah.
So times that by 60, times however many hours.
Yeah, and so we actually take 9 pictures of every frame of film. And what we do is we flash it with different brightnesses of red, green, and blue light, and then a couple flashes of white light. And that gives us this really high dynamic range, like HDR on your phone when you take a picture. If you set it to HDR, you notice it takes a little bit longer to take the picture, because what it's doing is it's taking multiple pictures at different color depths to give you this kind of more vibrant image. And we're doing that because right now you can do 4K at 10-bit color, but next year you've got Dolby coming out with this new color space that's going to make it even brighter and even more vibrant. And so we're kind of scanning them once, keeping them on our servers so that next year we can go back and deliver an even better version of the film.
We're going in like fucking Marines, you understand me?
Welcome to church, motherfucker.